I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
Welcome.
If you enjoy our show, please consider contributing to the Dark and Stormy Patreon. By becoming a patron, you will help us create better and quality content. There are also benefits to becoming a patron, such as exclusive content and Dark and Stormy merchandise. Become a supporter at patreon.com/darkandstormybc. Check our website for the link. We appreciate any and all contributions. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to episode 150 of Dark and Stormy Book Club. Today we visit with author Ellery Adams.
USA Today and New York Times bestselling author Ellery Adams has written over 30 novels and can't imagine spending a day away from the keyboard. Ms. Adams, a native New Yorker, has had a lifelong love affair with stories, food, rescue animals, and large bodies of water. When not working on her next novel, she bakes, gardens, drinks vats of coffee, spoils her 3 cats, and snacks on black licorice. She lives with her husband and 2 children, aka the Trolls, in North Carolina. Ink and Shadows is the 4th book in the Secret Book and Scone Society series. Nora Pennington is known for her window displays, and as Halloween approaches, she decides to showcase fictional heroines like Roald Dahl's Matilda and Madeline Miller's Circe. A family values group disapproves of the magical themes, though, and wastes no time in launching a modern-day witch hunt. Suddenly, former friends and customers are targeting not only Nora and Miracle Books, but a new shopkeeper, Celeste, who's been selling CBD oil products. Nora and her friends in the Secret Book and Scone Society are doing their best to put an end to the strife, but then someone puts an end to a life. Though the death is declared an accident, the ruling can't explain the old book page covered with strange symbols and disturbing drawings left under Nora's doormat, a postcard from an anonymous stalker, or multiple cases of vandalism. The only hope is that Nora can be a heroine herself and lead the Secret Book and Scone Society in a successful investigation before more bodies turn up and the secrets from Celeste's past come back to haunt them all.
We would like to welcome Ellery Adams to the program. She has a fascinating new book, Ink and Shadows. It's going to be released today by Kensington Press. Welcome, Ellery.
Hello, it is so nice to be here, gals.
We are big fans of your books, especially Nora and her group of friends.
They're a joy to write.
This series features sort of a theme of starting over. Nora, of course, is starting over with her life. Now you've got Celeste in this book. She was starting over, and Nora kind of wants to start over with Jed. Is this part of your philosophy in your life? You can always start over?
Absolutely. I am a strong believer in second chances. I believe that we should be given them, and we should also give them to others. We all get stuck. We all take the wrong path at times. I mean, that's just part of being human. I think as I've aged, I turned 50 this year. In that 5 decades of wisdom, I'm hoping that one of the things I learned is it's never too late. I love reading about second chances in fiction because I think it's inspiring. And I think it's a great lesson no matter what age you are, that you don't ever have to be stuck as long as you have the courage and hopefully the support to do something that other people might think is crazy. My husband and I definitely faced this a couple years ago. He's a physician and his job was really affecting his health. He wasn't getting enough sleep. He went to this doctor, and another doctor said, you're actually losing mental capacity and the ability to remember things because you don't have enough consistent sleep. And I said, you need to quit. You need to quit because this job is literally deteriorating your brain. We're going to quit and we're going to move. when you do this in your 40s, when you have 2 kids and you've got to save for college and you have a mortgage, it's terrifying. I said, we can do this. We're going to have a second chance at a different kind of life. And people thought we were crazy, and it was terrifying and it was really hard. We are so glad that we did it. And he has recovered most of his mental faculties. I mean, he is a guy, so no, I'm just kidding. He really is back to the person he used to be. I mean, he was really just starting to forget things. It was almost like some signs of early dementia caused by sleep deprivation, and your brain can actually heal if you get enough sleep from certain issues. And he was able to heal, thank goodness. It was really scary. At one point, we owned 3 houses and had sold none of them because we thought we were going to move to one place, and the job that he was looking at fell through. This is getting worse and worse. We're supposed to be changing our lives, and now we're in debt to like 14 different banks, but we got through it.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. Actually, as soon as we get off here, I'm going to talk to my husband about that because he's very sleep deprived too.
There are a lot of professions where people don't get consistent sleep. I think that you may notice that I bring up chronic pain in this particular book. And I introduced a character, Sheldon, in the book of Candlelight, who has chronic pain. Chronic pain and insomnia, unfortunately, usually go hand in hand. It started with my husband, but I really have done a great deal of research on lack of consistent sleep and chronic pain. And of course, you know, I'm in the throes of menopause, so I know all about lack of consistent sleep. And I always find it fascinating that so many women go through this and there's so little help for us. And I think, you know, if the world's males went through menopause, there would be a pill for this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now that you brought up Sheldon, he is truly my favorite character. I love Sheldon.
I'm so glad you like him. Some people think that he's a little too snarky for their taste. Well, he's like a teenager that never really grew up. You know what I mean?
One person that you talk about in the book is Saint Juliana, and we thought she was very interesting. We were curious on what you thought was the most interesting thing you found out about her.
I was trying to find a historical figure who had been represented in religious art, but may have been misrepresented as an actual person in oral histories and written histories. One of the themes I'm pursuing in Ink and Shadows is this idea of women who have power historically were often branded as something because they were seen as threatening. She did have more than one story and more than one different kind of portrait depending on who was painting her. I thought this has happened over and over and over again throughout history where women are repackaged in a way that isn't actually accurate and makes them seem dangerous, threatening, when in fact, oftentimes they were often just trying to help or to spread knowledge or to do something beneficial, but that was seen as threatening. I think I stumbled on her because I was researching characters who may have been portrayed as saints or angels. And when I saw the one representation of her with the chain around her waist, where she was chained to this devil or a dragon, I was immediately fascinated. Like, whoa, why has she got this dragon chained around her waist? I was just off to the races from there.
One of my favorite quotes in the book is regarding Juliana, and that's when the little girl says to her father, "Can she still be an angel if her wing is broken?" And her father says, "It's her heart that makes her an angel." I just thought that was so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Another part of your book talks about the use of CBD oils. And I am a confirmed believer and user of CBD. I feel like it's almost saved my life.
Heard that from quite a few people.
Do you perceive any negative comments regarding the use of CBD?
I've tried so hard to make it clear. I think there is a misconception that CBD equals marijuana. It doesn't, because it's missing certain elements of the plant that make people high and are known as a recreational drug. I really tried to spell that out. Like, look, You got to think about this as like ground up rope, not as a marijuana plant, like ground up hemp. Think about it that way. There is a stigma to it. I think one of the things I really wanted to do, and I'm hoping to do, is to remove that stigma for multiple reasons. One is because it is so successful for some people. My mother is a rheumatoid arthritis sufferer. She does very well with CBD oil warmed and rubbed into her hip joints and her knuckles. One of the reasons I got interested in CBD oil was I was trying to actually find some relief for her. She's a super active person, but she was really uncomfortable, and I could see her flare-ups. She's like Sheldon. She would get thick ankles. Her elbow would end up being twice the size of it was supposed to be. And this is on medication. Traditional medication doesn't always solve everything, as I'm sure you know, since you're a CBD user. Also, it can have terrible, terrible side effects. I mean, we are in an opioid epidemic. Find an alternative, and there is an alternative. I feel like that's something I want everybody to know about. And I've interviewed quite a few people with chronic pain who use it. And almost all of them, 99% of them, said they could not live without it now. They couldn't function. They couldn't be positive. No one's ever completely pain-free when you have chronic pain. They have more good days than they could have without it. And why wouldn't I want to tell people about that, right?
I really liked that when you were talking about it, gave questions to ask if you're going to purchase it. And I thought that was great.
Right. And I think that was important too, because in my research, I learned just like all the other markets, there are some bad fish selling out there, and they are selling products that either don't contain anything that will help you feel better. I mean, it would be nice if it was regulated and those sorts of people were just tossed out the window. But if we can just educate each other about how to know what to buy, then eventually those vendors will disappear because they won't have customers. If you go on Amazon, for example, and you type in CBD gummies, the amount of results is incredible. And you can start looking through those and go, this is not the real stuff. This is just a placebo for $40 a bottle. And it makes me very angry when people take advantage of people who are suffering anyway. I feel like they'll get theirs eventually, but I would just rather that people didn't spend any money on those folks.
I have one source that I buy from because I trust them and I know that I'm getting the real thing. It has made such a difference in my life since I've been taking it. It cured another whole thing different from what I was taking it for.
That is so awesome. I love those stories.
And the only change in my life was the CBD oil, so it had to be that.
Yeah, which is affordable. Another thing is I think we all know our own bodies better than anybody else. And when something is successful, we need to stick with it. And when something isn't working, we need to be able to say, whatever you gave me, this is making me feel sick. This is making me feel worse. I don't want to do this anymore. That's part of our right to be our own patient advocates.
I'm very lucky that I have a doctor who says, if it works, keep doing it.
So I wish that kind of doctor on everyone. And I always tell people, if you don't have a good relationship with your doctor, you need to change. I'm very pro healthcare workers, but I know I've been there too, where I've gone to see somebody and they've said, well, this is what you have. And I say, no, I know myself now, and that's not it. Can we keep trying?
I have to tell you, Ellery, I have read every book in this series, and it has really fast became one of my favorite series.
Yes.
And part of what really draws me to this series is the friendship that Nora has with these women. It's like coming home again. And especially nowadays with us being very limited on how we commune with each other. Do you have a group of women like Nora has?
We moved from Virginia to North Carolina about 2.5 years ago. I have become friendly with people here, but I don't have a book group or things like I used to have. And I think part of what I love so much about this series is it gives me an opportunity to create friendship bonds, even though they're fictional, and then to talk about those friendships with people I don't know online. I've really made some lovely connections with people because of this series, mostly on Instagram and on Facebook, hearing their stories and which character they identify with. I guess they're kind of my way of creating a friendship circle, a reader's circle, if you will, for myself as well. I am an introvert and I do like to be at home, but I also like to have a couple of really close friends. It's hard to make new friends when you've just